Hey, Vsauce, Michael here.
What makes the Danmaku pattern unique? Out of possibly infinite ways to arrange moving objects on a 2D screen, how come some few are recognized as such? And how come the most recognized pattern of all happens to be this? In a modern shmup world, there exists a moral hall of fame for bullet hell patterns. The people who choose which pattern gets to be put alongside other masterpieces are us, the players. We choose what sticks and what doesn't, what's cool and what isn't. Alongside the most terrifying, brutal and most beautiful patterns, we also put one that feels a bit too simple, a spiral. Labeled as Bordeaux Waving Particle, this spiral formation has been used multiple times in the original games and fanworks. So much in fact, the pattern has become the most cliché pattern of all of Touhou. How come? Why this pattern out of every other Touhou pattern? Was it just a pure guess? Or maybe it's because back in the day, it was different from anything else people had seen. Let's go back to the post-Christmas time of 2005, to the release of Shoot the Bullet. In level X4, there it was, the first iteration of BOAP. The experience is surely something interesting. Trying to read the pattern and figure out how it works may seem much more difficult than originally intended. At first, it looks like the spiral spins faster and faster to the point it changes form. On top of that, it starts spinning the other direction? What's going on? Well, we're already familiar with a phenomenon. Whenever you spin a spiral in the right way, it will create different spiral arrangements. Suddenly, from a simple n-way ring, it turns to more than we originally started from, and that's just the first component of the trick BOAP plays on all of us. The second component is more clear after the pattern loops. From the initial 5-way spiral, it goes sporadic, almost random, changing the amount of arms the spiral has, along with its density, and then it comes back to the 5-way we started with. And then it goes back and repeats the procedure over and over.
Or does it?
It's not quite clear what we're seeing on the screen. The blurry bullet spawns, insanely fast rotation, the overdensity of bullets, it's a mess. So let's clean it up by removing the excess arms of the spiral. I tried to indirectly modify the code of the Shoot the Bullet iteration, however, the game didn't bother to update the file. It was then when I realized my compile failed to update the script and instead it just left a blank file. So the game just didn't care with the source files it was originally assigned. So I moved to the second iteration of BOAP, present in
Subterranean Madness.
There, the pattern was dependent on difficulty modes, so I went in with its true representation in Lunatic mode. Removing 7 of 8 arms in that pattern led to some interesting results. At first, the number of arms in the spiral started decreasing after some time. Not only that, every time before the arms decreased, the spiral stopped spinning and then it went the other direction. When going from 3 to 2 arms, for a short while it became 5 and then 7 before reaching 2. And after that it returned back to 3, 4 and so on until it became 1. Though there was something bothering me. When it returned to being a one-way again, the arm ended up on the opposite side of the screen? It's not really that much of a deal, it's just a weird offset of 180 degrees, right? Not exactly. What really is happening in this pattern is nothing but a trick of our minds. In fact, there is no more than literally one arm of that spiral. Our perception makes us think that it's more than that. Take a look at this. The angle between each bullet shot is so much that it becomes an illusion of more spirals existing than we initially thought of. One way to visualize this is to show the pattern much slower.
I have a request for all Touhou fans.
As well as to show the emitter object. The emitter here spins so fast that the bullets start to overlap in some cases. In fact, the rotation of the spiral never stops. It just keeps on accelerating. Forever. But how does a spiral accelerate in terms of code? Well, all that really happens is nothing but a simple instruction. In most Danmaku spirals, the angle of rotation never changes, it stays constant. Here it's linearly getting larger with every bullet shot. In case of SA, it is increased by 0.225 degrees. Noting that the rate of the bullets shot is 2 frames, it gets big really fast. But then there's one problem left. How come the spiral starts going the other direction at the beginning and then come back if the values are still set low enough? The overlap wouldn't happen because for that we would need more than 300 degrees already in the bank, which we do not currently have. Well, as it turns out, unlike in Shoot the Bullet, the initial angle over here is not 0. The spiral's initial speed rotation is set to negative. -4.5 degrees to be more precise. Since the rotation angle increases, it will soon reach 0, which will make the bullets not spin at all in that moment, and after that it continues going higher as if nothing happened. Forever. Such a trick is actually used more times than you initially thought. Excluding more occurrences of true BOAP in other games like Okina's Nuns, SA Death Fairies from Stage 6, ISC's Day 1010, and Yachi's Nuns, the usage of a non-constant rotation angle is present in more obscure patterns. Spin deceleration or acceleration, present in Ringo's Nuns, Fudo's Nuns, and many more happens due to using the same formula, only the values have changed. Now that we figure out how Bardo of Wyvern Particle operates, let's have some fun. Let's change it. Not so much to the fact that it's a completely different pattern, but let's just use this component of deceleration and acceleration and things. For example, I used some of it to create my own variations of Bardo of Wyvern Particle, just to make it seem a little bit more interesting. Here, I'm going to show it on the left, the original pattern, and on the right, it's going to have the changed one.
Objection!
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 Objection! Hold it! Objection!
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 Skip it a bop a doobity.